So let's start this off. So welcome everybody and thank you for turning up. As you may know, we actually do a monthly webinar on a different subject and just so you can actually learn the system a little bit better. Today's monthly webinar is on hazards and the hazard register, how to use it, how to get the most out of it, what you should be doing, and also some of the upgrades that's going to be coming into this section in the near future as well. So the hazard register is located on the quick links page. It uses the traffic light process like most of the other registers as well, red, orange, green. So when a hazard is logged, it will go red. When it's assessed, it'll actually go orange. And when it's the control measure has been created, it will go green. So just to highlight what this register was, the reason why these icons are here is for people who are colorblind, and we actually have a fair few clients who had that, so that's why I put that feature inside there. You're looking at, this is the ID of that hazard in our database. It'll have the hazard's name related to the site, the activity that if you've selected an activity when you're entering the hazard, and again to the machine. This is the assess button to take you to the next step. It will take you to the assessment page, but we'll move up to that shortly. And this is the control button to take you to the control button, but it'll actually tell you if you actually select that, you need to do the assessment first. This button here is for you to actually upload maybe any kind of notes or other kind of notes on that hazard that was logged or what you've done or whatever it may be. You can actually upload a document here. It might be a risk assessment of some sort that you've undertaken and uploaded it there. The review data of the hazard. This view icon here actually just highlights all the data that you've actually entered in the entire process. You do have your log down here with all the different processes as well, because the hazard register does link to other registers. Nat, I'll just put you on mute there. So and then you've also got, in this section here, you can actually generate this as a PDF. It's a great way if you want to do a toolbox talk on certain hazards or whatever it may be. You can actually print that out and show all your employees or whatever it may be that you need to do. Or you might even copy this and actually use as an induction process. The edit icon is where you can actually come here and edit that data and update all the other different processes as well. And you've got the deactivated. So exactly the same as all the other registers. It does also have, say for an example, your publish register here, where you can actually publish in a whole wide range of ways, but the CSV is probably one of the best ways for you to actually do, because it prints out all the fields inside the system. One thing that you can actually do, if you actually select on these icons, it'll actually bring outstanding items depending on what they are to the top. So, but let's log a hazard and we'll go through the hazard process. So basically logging a hazard is quite easy. You can relate a hazard to a site, you can relate it to an activity, and you can relate it to, if there's a machine related to that site, you can relate it to that as well. There is going to be an upgrade just here, just before this hazard process here. There's actually going to be a process where you'll be able to add, just like the incident types, you'll be able to add a hazard category. And then when you add a hazard category, it'll cause another field like this where you can actually relate certain hazard types to that category. So what that's going to be, it's going to be more uniform. So therefore, instead of people just entering lots and lots of different kind of ways, you can actually designate that there's going to be a certain kind of category and a certain type of type, so therefore you can actually develop better reports. So that will be coming, around about September, October this year. But let's just enter a hazard here, and we'll just do, say for an example, collision with pedestrians. And let's relate this to, say for an example. So if we just, we'll go, it should have been, say for an example, warehouse safety or something like that. I'm trying to find my forklift that I'm actually going to relate it to. So it's I'll forget that one. I'll try, just pretend I just related that to the forklift. So here would be, as people are walking into the warehouse, they have the risk of actually being hit by a forklift, and which would cause major damage and all that kind of stuff. So this is the description of your hazard and why you're actually entering it in. The report date, and select the employee who's actually logging it. These aren't mandatory fields, but you can actually, if you wanted to, process that you want it assessed by no later than that date there. And this is the person responsible. You can upload a picture and select add. It will go red inside the system. So the person responsible, if I logged in as Phil Bamford, technically that would actually be in my to-do list. And all I have to do is actually select the pad icon next to it that I have to do it. So, but I don't think I've actually logged in as myself, but let me have a look if I have. Look at all these actions I haven't done. So it, here it is here. So I can literally technically just select that icon there. So, and here's the hazard that I've actually done. So remembering, if you actually have set a person responsible, it'll automatically put it into that person's to-do list. Yes, you should already have set up in your user admin dashboard and the alert section to receive emails for, basically for any kind of hazards logged. So you set up your hazards here, but you would actually set it not just for the one site, you would set it up for multi-sites. So it, and if you do set it up for multi-sites, make sure that if you are related to the general site, you can select yourself. If you're related to the general site, you'll be seen in the manager section down here, and the employees for that site will be seen up here. You would, when you're actually setting the alert, you would actually leave the alert time frame as 0. So that means that you'll get an email alert basically immediately. You can escalate that alert, and you can actually say, this person's going to get an email after 2 days. This is if Phil Bamford has not actually undertaken the risk assessment. It will actually email alert the next person up. Let's go back to the major register. So yes, it's going to be in the person's to-do list, but the person can also, say for an example, select this assessed icon via the register. They can see what the hazard is, and then you've actually got your hazard types. Again, this is going to link into the category before with when I mentioned that there's going to be a new category process and new hazard types. So therefore, a drop-down list and adding new types is going to be very similar, but it's going to be on the previous page instead of just here. So, but we'll just select, say for an example, whatever it may be. So, risk score. So yes, this is the matrix that's preloaded inside the system, and likelihood versus severity. So when you're actually doing the risk assessment, it's very simple just to ask, is it very likely this could happen anytime? Well, I was speaking to a client the other day, and they've got 15 forklifts. So the likelihood of them having an incident with a forklift in the warehouse is probably very likely. So, but if you only got maybe, say for an example, one forklift and you use it every blue moon, well, it might be, unlikely, but could happen, but very rarely. So that's, you go across there and work out your rating, and then you would work down the field of severity. So, yep, let's say we've got 15 forklifts. It's very likely this could happen anytime. Well, what would happen if a forklift would hit you? Well, it would probably kill you or give you permanent disability. It's one of the biggest workplace killers in Australia. So let's select on the number 1. Now you can actually upload your own matrix inside the user admin dashboard, upload matrix, but it won't have that feature where you click on that number and insert that number, because obviously it's a graphic that you're uploading. So, but you can, say for an example, upload your own matrix. A lot of clients do. This note is, well, I'm actually, the reason why I'm doing is because it's likely it could happen, anytime, and also the likelihood of actually being hit by that means that they probably would be seriously injured, hence why I rated a 1. So this is a note on why you actually rated that score at a risk level at number 1. So with assessment date, select the employee. This will automatically go into my history to show that I've done this, and I'm going to make Phil Bamford actually responsible for the control measure. Again, it will go orange in here. I can actually click on this icon and it'll take me to the control measure. But once more, it'll actually be in my to-do list because I was the person responsible, and I can actually just hit on that pad. So technically, you could, hence why I put that button there in the first place. Anything that you need to do, literally, you can actually do here and select this, and all the things that's been assigned to you will be there, especially if you've been assigned to assess a hazard or assess an incident or whatever it may be. Well, let's just go back here, and I'll go control. That was the email just notifying me that I was actually, you might have seen that one there, that I was being assigned to do that control measure. So you do receive an email to say, hey, Phil Bamford, you need to do the control measure of collision with pedestrian. So the hierarchy controls, hopefully, most of you know about how to use this. It's quite easy. Again, just ask yourself all these 6 questions. Can the hazard be eliminated? Well, no, we still need to use that forklift. Can we substitute it with something safer? No, well, we really need to use that forklift. Can we isolate the hazard from the person? Yes, we sure can. So designated walkways, bollards, and in the workplace, da 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 da. So if you do have a forklift, one thing, it's if Safe Work or whatever it may be comes into your kind of warehouse, they'll be looking straight away for designated walkways. If you don't have designated walkways, you're really going to, you should have, and I'd be going out there and painting them as soon as possible. Obviously, identify the safest place where to do it, but you really you should be doing that kind of process, or your kind of process might be a hazard might be working at heights and all those different things. So you've got to just work your way down this kind of list here and identify all the, say, control measures that you're actually going to implement. Minimize through engineering means and so forth. That might be, say, for an example, signage, or bollards and all that kind of stuff again, or it might even be a siren like a lot of people do, or a chain over front section when it's in use. Reduce it by administration means. Well, you would actually be inducting employees into training into those control measures that you actually are entering. So, say for an example, if you did actually put designated walkways, well, that's fine that you put the designated walkways in, but what you need to do is also induct your employees into the designated walkways. So therefore, you can actually show that they've actually been trained in that process. This also might be, say, for an example, toolbox talks and all those different things. So you can add your own PPE here. So you could put signage in here if you wanted to. High visibility vest would be an absolute must, and working in a workplace that's got forklifts, you can develop the control measure on that date there. And depending on the risk, it is really depending on when you actually do the review measure. If you've rated something a risk of number 1, I would actually be reviewing it within a couple of weeks just to make sure that it's actually implementing and working, people are following it. So if it's something rated like a 5 or something like that, or 4, you could actually review it each year. So these action items is, make sure that I put designated walkways in, and I'm going to make Phil Bamford responsible. It will email alert me. It'll put me in my to-do list, and I want him to do it today. So you would actually enter all the different control measures of all these different things. What you could do if you're multi-site, like say for an example, I see Melissa, you're there with Just Moving, you could actually do a risk assessment on a forklift, and you could actually put all the managers to put in designated walkways for all their sites. So therefore you would actually put your 20 odd sites that you've got across Australia and put them all in and assign them to each of the managers. And then that way they're by a designated date, and you can actually show that you've actually done that as a head office or a group, and then that way there, because a forklift is going to be a forklift in every single one of those warehouses. Let's select add. It will go green inside the system here. So now the best thing what you should be doing after that is literally coming straight to this checklist builder. And what you should be doing is adding checklist, and you would relate it to the site. you could open that up if you wanted to, if you're multi-sites. You could actually say, for an example, put an activity as walkthrough audit. Actually, I think I've already got a walkthrough audit there. It's down lower because it's already in your system. Machine, you could actually relate it to a forklift if you want to. But the hazard is the hazard that we just talked about, or collision with pedestrians that we just talked about. You could, if you wanted to, even upload, say for an example, forklift safety. So there was my action that was actually assigned in those emails there. So I might get a couple of those coming in now. But you could actually, there we go. So so you're looking at, you could actually upload forklift safety in the warehouse or whatever it may be, compliance safety in there. I know there is a forklift set standards and so forth you could upload there and relate it to that. And you might even have a policy which is safety in the warehouse policy. You can relate it to that. And you would actually build your checklist. And the reason why you're going to build a checklist for it is because then you can actually do a walkthrough audit to make sure that that hazard of collision with pedestrians and those designated walkways are in place. Because in the history of the hazard, if I just scroll down here, I'm sorry for jumping everywhere. If I select checklist, when you actually do that walkthrough audit, it's going to highlight here. It's a great way for you to actually show that not only have you identified the hazard, but you've actually then reviewed it on a regular basis. Really, you should be doing a walkthrough audit, depending on what kind of business you are, on a regular basis. I know, say for an example, when I had the business before here where I created this all from, Waves, I used to do a walkthrough audit. Well, I used to get the staff to do a walkthrough audit every day. So but it was an outdoor facility with public coming in every single day. So they did a walkthrough audit to identify anything, abnormalities or any process. But you're looking at, depending on your business, you might do it once a day, once a week, once a month, whatever it may be. So it's highly recommended that you actually do that. Now, one of the things with a hazard is if I actually just select, say for an example, the add hazard, you'll see that it actually has created a QR code. I can print QR code. And what that does is literally it's created a hazard form with your logo down here. Now at the moment, if you scan that QR code, you'd have to be logged into this, have to enter a username and password. But that's where you all should be going here and going make hazard form public. So select this icon here and it's going to take you to the public pages. So just to let you know where that is, user admin dashboard. And if you scroll down there, building management, public pages. But you'll see that it's quick links. There's quick links to it on the sections where you can actually make it public. You'll see a quick link in the middle of the section here. So you should be just going add public page, and every single one of your sites you should be actually making it. Now you can have your employee list on the form, which I would recommend if Joe Blow general public can't scan it, you would do that. If Joe Blow general public can scan it, you would select no. There is another feature coming later this year where you'll be able to select that you want it to be PIN notified. So what that means is that when the employee actually scans it, it'll actually send them out a PIN number where they'll enter that PIN number into the system, so it verifies that that's that employee. So it's going to you're going to have, yes, it's open for everybody. No, it's closed. They've got to enter username and password. Or 3, they'll be able to enter a 4-digit PIN, via that's sent to them via SMS to their phone. So let's just like save there. And you would go through and you would do that for every single one of the sites that you've actually got. Every single site, you would do the same process. And the reason why you would do that is when they scan this QR code, when they scan the QR code here, or the one that we printed out, only if you've made this public, only the sites that you've made public will be seen in this drop-down list. So if you're thinking, hang on a sec, I've made that QR code, but I can't see all those different sites. Well, the reason being is you've only made maybe your general site public, but you really want to make all your sites public. And that's because the system actually generates this hazard report. and you've got this hazard report, and you've got it by hazard type, risk score, activity, but you've also got it by site. So you've actually, if you've related all your hazards to your company name, which is your general site usually, you're only going to see this as a full one, where it'd be much better for you to actually identify and see that you've actually got hazards at all these different various sites. So now you've got this report that you can actually do. You can do this by date range. So you got the kind of comparison report that you can actually select a different date range, so you can actually see how improved you are compared to maybe last year or something like that. So that's kind of a feature not many people are using. But you can also come here to the published register, as mentioned before, and download it in the CSV file and make your own report if you wanted to do so. One of the things is that you would have noticed, like say for an example with this collision with pedestrians, that we added so many different actions to it. So you're looking at what is actually going to be happening in this register is, kind of maybe shorting or getting rid of some of these items in here and replacing it with that this has 3 actions and 2 of them are outstanding. So you'll be able to, not only that, will publish in the report, and but you'll be able to see here that you've had 3 actions to that item, and there's 2 still outstanding, and it'll be just a great way for you to actually identify. Hang on a sec, especially if you've got multi-sites like you, Melissa. Like if you've set actions or hazards for everyone, you'll be able to see that you've set 25 actions and only 5 people have done it, for an example. Just for an example. So again, you can actually, any hazard that you've actually logged and set an action to, you'll see that it's automatically gone into the action register and highlighted that it's actually been a hazard. So yeah, I did two of those actions relating to that activity. And again, you can actually publish this register and use this as a report as well. So there's a whole variety of ways that you can actually do hazard reports. One thing you should be doing though, is literally using this meeting builder here and go add meeting. And what you should be doing is entering your agenda as WHS, especially in your WHS committee, WHS committee meeting, and you put hazards, incidents, qualifications, inductions, actions. And you can actually, it's a great way for you to actually go to your various registers throughout the system and print out reports. And then all of a sudden you're reviewing your system straight away each time. You might do that once a week, you might do that once a fortnight, once a month, or whatever it may be. But it's a great way for you to constantly, easily manage your safety commitments by literally just reviewing it by selecting certain subjects. So if you do forget about that, you might see that in the help section here, not only will you'll see the video coming up here in this section so you can review that, but I've got this, I put this tip in here and I'm going to try to get around to doing more of them. But consultation for meeting register, if you select this, I've actually got this process where, this is what you should do. Like, step 1, go to these registers, publish all those out. And then, basically go to all these different registers and then go to the meeting builder, go add meeting, and then you can actually enter just exactly what I just mentioned. And it's just you constantly, continually improving and reviewing your system. So that is the hazard register. What I say to clients all the time is that you should be concentrating on your high risk items first, and you should be actually putting them in your hazard register. A lot of our clients aren't using their hazard register as they should. It is a major part of compliance, obviously. If you are a multi-site, you could actually enter them in, so therefore as generic ones, so therefore all your sites do it, but just set the actions at the end so they all do it. It's a great way to do it like that. But I did actually go to a client's place and I walked around their facility. Obviously none of the clients in this meeting, but one of the clients, I'm not sure if they're still a client anymore. And I did a walkthrough with him, and and I said, do you have a forklift? He goes, yes. And I said, where does it go? And he goes, just in this warehouse here. And I've gone, okay, anywhere else it goes. And he, mentioned it goes in all these different places. And then we actually finally just done some training, and I said, okay, let's enter some hazards inside the system. And his main concern was actually some of his employees making a cup of coffee instead of actually the forklift, which he had no designated walkways and no bollards in place, which was his major hazard in the workplace. So start off with your major hazards and just work your way down. Obviously, you're all busy people and so forth, but it's a good idea, say for example, to enter your major ones inside the system, and then from that there, if you do that walkthrough audit, then you can identify hazards, and then you can actually enter them inside the system. And it's a great way for, if something does happen, you can actually show what it's done. But just remembering that you should actually also be not only, say for example, doing those meetings or toolbox talks, you can do that, but it's a good idea, say for example, if you do designated walkways or safety in the workplace, you come to the user admin dashboard and you build an induction and for that hazard, and it's just going to really show your compliance quite easily and effectively. So I hope I didn't go too fast. Most people who know me know I talk pretty fast. So but there is a lot of new upgrades coming into the system. As I usually go over some of the upgrades coming into the system at the end. Obviously, this PPE register has been pushed back, but it is coming into the system quite shortly. But I have got a list of around about 50 upgrades coming into the system in the next 18 months, and some of them are going to be very, very good. I think you're going to like them. Well, I hope you do anyway. But what we're also going to be doing when we actually send our monthly email, you would see Lisa's already started putting in. These are the coming upgrades coming into the system, and these are the upgrades that's gone into the system this month. And just try to help everyone notice that there's a couple little changes going into the system here, there, and everywhere. So again, thank you for your time. I have recorded this. I will be uploading into the help section either this afternoon or by tomorrow. And hope you're having a good day. And thank you very much for turning up.